This public hearing conducted by the Committee on Appropriations and Adjudication will now come to order. Notice of this public hearing was disseminated to all local media outlets via electronic format on February the 2nd, with a second notice provided on February the 7th, 2016. Notice of this hearing was also made known on the Guam Legislature's website. This afternoon we have only one bill on the agenda, a very important bill introduced by Senator Frank Aguon Jr. And thank him for being with me this afternoon, and I'll allow him to give a short introduction of the bill.
First of all, Mr. Vice Speaker, Mr. Chairman, thank you very much for expediting the public hearing on this particular measure, which was just introduced a couple weeks back. Mr. Chairman, in the fiscal year 16 budget, which is inclusive of this fiscal year, the legislature recognized the need to be able to provide funding to address the needs for our foster children so that they can be included in the government of Guam health insurance policy. Well, in addition to recognizing that and providing verbiage that would extend to the foster children, there was a $250,000 appropriation that was allocated in the fiscal year. To date, there have been a much larger number of foster children that have been included in this particular provision, and albeit I think it's great because we're providing as a government and as a community the extension of medical insurance to these foster children. The numbers have increased exponentially, requiring an additional funding mechanism of about $400,000. So in addition to the $250,000 that you had incorporated and Senator Mike St. Nicholas had incorporated into the fiscal year budget, there's a request for an additional $400,000 just for this fiscal year so that in fact it can address the funding requirements for the balance of fiscal year 16. So Mr. Chairman, in addition to entertaining this measure, I certainly look forward to your consideration in the fiscal year 17 budget in terms of making sure that we provide the sufficient allocation so that our foster children can be included in the government of Guam medical insurance. But thank you again for co-sponsoring this measure also, Mr. Vice Speaker. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Senator. I want to acknowledge the fact that though she is not present, I would like to read into the record the letter sent by the First Lady so that it's known that she did provide testimony. Mr. Vice Speaker, I appreciate the invitation to testify on Bill 246-33 COR, which would appropriate $400,000 for the unreserved balance on the Healthy Futures Fund to help pay premiums for foster children health insurance. As you know, I am a strong proponent of helping the most vulnerable in our community, and Guam's foster children certainly have a great need to see the adults in their lives stand up for them and ensure their basic needs are taken care of. Every child deserves that. They have been and continue to be a focus of the not-for-profit Regala Foundation and of my office as the First Lady of Guam. Unfortunately, I am unable to attend the public hearing because of a previously scheduled meeting. Attached to this letter is my testimony, which I ask the senators to take into consideration. She writes, "What an exciting day it is for our community coming together to help the most vulnerable. Too many children go through traumatic experience in their young lives, some of which you or I cannot even fathom. Though through no fault of their own, they are neglected or abused, and because of circumstances outside of their control, they are taken from the only home they know and thrust into the care of strangers. It is important that we as adults in their community show our love and support for them. All children need to know love so they can grow up and share that same love with the next generation of Guamanians. I have come before this body to talk about the future of our island and the care we need to invest in our children today. If I seem relentless in this pursuit to show love and to illustrate the need to cherish these little angels, it is because as a mother, as a Catholic, and as a leader who sees great need, I am compelled to act. I remain committed to helping our foster children and ensuring that their basic needs are met to include their health care. I testify today in favor of Bill 246-33, which would appropriate $400,000 from the unreserved fund balance of the Healthy Futures Fund to help pay premiums for foster children's health insurance. Considering the project and the programs the Healthy Future Fund has come to support over the years, I cannot think of any more appropriate use of this funding source than to support our children. I thank you for the invitation to speak on this bill. If passed into law, I will do much to help our foster children. I also have a letter from Regalu, and I believe we have oral testimony to be provided by Linda Rodriguez, Janica Quintanilla, Shirley, and Kaylee. I can't read the last name, so I won't. If you'd all come up, there's 4 seats here. Ms. McDonald of the Regala Foundation just wanted to provide written letter in support. Thank you. All right.
Good afternoon, Vice Speaker Benjamin J.F. Cruz and Senator Frank Aguon. I am providing testimony this afternoon on behalf of my director who cannot be here today. My name is Linda Rodriguez, and I'm the administrator for the Bureau of Social Services Administration of the Department of Public Health and Social Services. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to present testimony on Bill 246-33. An act to appropriate the sum of $400,000 from the unreserved fund balance of the Healthy Futures Fund as of September 30th, 2015, to the Department of Public Health and Social Services to pay premiums for foster children's health insurance. Public Law 32-189 mandated the Department of Public Health and Social Services to include foster children in the Government of Guam Group Health Insurance Plan with full cost of insurance provided by the Government of Guam. Public Law 33-66 allowed $250,000 for premium payments to the selected vendor, which is Select Care. The monthly premium for Select Care insurance is $292.37 per child. The lowest and highest number of foster children per month was 173 and 224, respectively. The Department of Public Health and Social Services supports Bill 246-33 because the $250,000 initially appropriated in Public Law 33-66 is insufficient to cover the cost of the monthly premiums. An additional $400,000 is needed to cover the remainder of the fiscal year. Without the additional funding, the Department of Public Health and Social Services will need to terminate coverage with the Select Care program. This will require, at a minimum, a 30-day notice to the provider, foster parents, and relative placement providers. Thank you for your consideration and support.
Thank you very much, and please thank the director for his testimony. Janica?
Buenas and half a day to all honorable senators of the 33rd Guam Legislature before us today. My name is Janica Quintanilla, President of the Social Work Student Alliance at the University of Guam.
Half a day, I'm Kaylee Terlahi. Half a day, I'm Shirley Irons, also a student at the PSW program at UOG.
This testimony is presented on behalf of the Social Work Student Alliance, SWASA, of the University of Guam. SWASA thanks you for the opportunity to present testimony in support of Bill 246-33 COR. Some of our students in the Division of Social Work have been working closely with families and children in the foster care system for their field placements. It is known that health care is a basic necessity for all children and youth. However, for children and youth in the foster care system, health care is more than just a basic necessity. health care is often seen as a lifeline to escape the difficult situations they have encountered. Children and youth who enter the foster system care due to abuse and neglect are considered an at-risk population because they are most susceptible to significant healthcare needs and/or challenges. Our students working with this population have found that most underlying health issues are often associated with poverty or other at-risk conditions, such as parental substance abuse. The matter of being abused or neglected is also a major contributing factor to poor health, as can the disruption caused by the exertion process and placement into foster care. It is evident that children in foster care often struggle with developmental disorders, medical disorders, alongside a number of behavioral disorders such as attention deficit or adjustment disorders, just to name a few. We often see children enter the custody of social services without receiving any immunization shots after their birth. Many of these children have never seen a doctor, nor have been given the appropriate medical attention that is so desperately needed.
This should be seen as a major concern for our people of Guam as we watch the number of children in foster care increase at dire rates. The Bureau of Social Services and Administration's most recent statistics indicate that the population of our children in foster care has reached a current total of 172, and this number is still growing. As we review the increasing rate of this population, it is apparent that the appropriation of funds sought by Bill 246-33 COR is needed. As one of our students evaluated Bill 246-33 with the Bureau of Social Services and Administration, it is found that their current fund for medical coverage is quickly depleted, as it will only hold them off until the end of this month. The depletion of these funds is due to the fast-growing amount of foster children and youth in their legal custody. Bill 246-33 would allow the Department of Public Health and Social Services to continue providing the much-needed coverage under Calvo's Select Care insurance. Currently, our foster families appreciate the easy access they have to medical and dental care. Our foster children and youth can receive the medical treatment quickly through a wide selection of private clinics with urgent cares available as needed. In these clinics, our foster children and youth are able to receive the adequate time and attention they need to have their stories heard due to the lessened amount of consumers on demand. When adequate and medical attention is given, we find that doctors become personal advocates for these foster children and youth, especially when off-island medical treatment is needed.
We have also found that our foster children and youth can now benefit from counseling services at these private clinics, unlike before, due to the restrictions of MIP and Medicaid. The need for medication and medical equipment is easily accessed and financially covered with the wide selection of pharmacies for our foster families to utilize. With this, I would like to share a short story of a personal experience that a local long-term foster mother shared with a student in our program. This story will show the dire need for continuance of foster children health insurance. As her story goes, a premature baby who was somewhat healthy, weighing a mere pound at birth, had entered foster care at just 4 pounds. This infant experienced trouble breathing with a hole in his heart, which required off-island treatment to ensure his survival. As the little guy needed immediate health care and services, the long-pending process to receive the much-needed medical coverage was inevitable. The requirement to have the approval of the court system was unavoidable. As time was ticking for this infant's life, the foster mother had to go above and beyond the requirements of this role. She had to become an advocate for this infant. She eventually chose to reach out to the governor of Guam and the First Lady for greater assistance. Thankfully, she explained that their assistance sped up the process for her tremendously. She was able to have Medicaid provide all medical assistance and needs for the infant in her care. This is a prime example of how critical and essential it is to keep our foster families on this health care insurance plan. Providing this access to health care keeps our foster children and youth safe, healthy, and thriving. Under this health care insurance plan, our foster families do not have to struggle with the barriers of additional requirements to access this type of health care needed, especially when a child's life is at stake. It is for these reasons that the Social Work Student Alliance stands in full support of Bill 246-33 to keep Guam great with our children remaining at top priority. Thank you.
Thank you for an eloquently written statement, which will help my staff in preparing the summary of the bill. We don't have to do anything except to plagiarize both of them, huh? No. But thank you very much. It was very well written. And Orleans already hit me up for the conference next month. So we'll see you at the conference next month. Okay, and do you have any questions?
I want to just say thank you very much, first of all, to the First Lady for reaching out and providing her testimony, and then also for Regalo Foundation, Ms. McDonald, and some of your members for the wonderful volunteer service that you provide our community. I also want to thank the director for providing his testimony and recognizing that this is an issue that needs to be funded directly, regardless as to what other flexibility within the budget the chief executive has, that this is certainly something that this body needs to be able to walk through and try to ensure that we provide funding. To the Social Worker Alliance, thank you, because you shared 2 points. One is you reached out and you recognized that this is an issue in the community that we as a island community need to continue to fund and to support. The second part is I consider this a pilot project when in fact we transition from Medicare and MIP to the GovGuam insurance program. And this is the first fiscal year that is actually in place. And by virtue of you sharing that personal experience where the parents were able to actually access much quicker medical care for the child that you shared the story of, I think that's a telling story. That the decision that this body made, the decision that some of the senators advocated for to include the foster children in the GovGuam medical health insurance program was the right decision, because it expedites the access and the reach for services, medical services that our foster children need. And let me just close with this. The unsung heroes, I think, are the foster parents also. And I just wanted to close with that particular comment. But thank you for sharing those two perspectives, the need, the requirement, and that this so-called transfer from MIP and Medicaid over to GovGuam Health Insurance Program was needed, and it's proven successful. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, and I too would like to underscore my sincerest appreciation to the foster parents. They are not only unsung heroes, I mean, they are saints. And I really appreciate their work. And to the social work students, maybe you'll help me champion something that I pushed 25 years ago. And that's to have, as part of your internship and maybe even scholarship, the fact that as you're in school, you act as a foster parent. And you actually have one child that you're responsible for during the period, and especially your last couple of years. And what would be better? Full-time, and they have a great mentor and a role model who's studying, going to school, and also being there when the child leaves for school and when the child comes home. So, nobody wanted to take me up on that offer a few years ago, and I'm not sure if it'd be taken up now, but I thought it'd be a great way of assisting in having full-time assistance for our foster children, especially during the period that we were having problems finding sufficient numbers, but I thought that would be a way. Again, thank you very much to all the foster parents. Please extend our thanks to the First Lady for her testimony, and this bill will be on the agenda coming Monday, and so I thank everybody for their assistance in helping us put this together. And I thank my young friends for being so well behaved back there. If you want to. No, you don't need to. Just come up if you want. Just introduce yourself. No, turn on.
Here. I'm Helen Middlebrook, and I am been a foster parent for over 2 years. Those are my boys back there. You read about them in the paper. One of them goes by the name of BJ in the paper, and the other one goes by the name of Nero in the paper. So I would like to thank you, thank the legislature for taking on this need of having Stay Well and private insurance cover our children. When I first got my boys, we were only on the Medicaid, and if you take a look at them, you will see that they are not typical children. Both of them have genetic conditions. One of them has a condition that is longer than he is tall, and like all foster children almost come to the foster parent broken, and you can't. These breaks often cannot be fixed by the resources we have at public health only, or by the resources we have by people who will take Medicaid. Blaine had an example of he had a perforated eardrum for over a year, and he couldn't have that fixed anywhere. He needed an ENT. We did not have an ENT. We finally got an ENT, and our ENT graciously took Medicaid, so he had the proper care. But then he had something that seems a little less extreme. He was constipated, and the school nurse is calling me, he's sick. Well, you just can't get in. If you have Medicaid, you call, oh, I'm sorry, we have already filled our Medicaid slots for the day. I got a sick kid. What am I going to do with him? Well, take him to the ER. Well, that's expensive. That's not good for the system. All I need is to see a doctor, but I can't because their Medicaid slots are filled. So this is one of the problems that we have had with being on Medicaid, and now it's a lot nicer that we can have our choice of doctors. We can take them. Medicaid also didn't cover certain less expensive treatments like chiropractic, but now Stay Well, Select Care does cover the chiropractic, which is what some of my kids need. So we are quite grateful for this, and if there's not enough money, we would hope that you would put more there.
Thank you as well for having me. I'm Bethany Taylor. My husband and I are we've been foster parents for 6 years, and we've had over 25 foster children in our home over the couple of years. I as well have had many experiences with taking our children to the hospital and to the doctors on Guam, and all of them have had the Medicaid as well until recently with the Select Care, and it has been a huge difference. I've had the testimony that was spoken of the NICU baby, that little premature baby, and had to take him to Michigan. I've had a shaken baby syndrome where he was 6 months old, shaken with blood hemorrhaging to the brain, and now lives with half a brain and is amazing and is walking and has had surgery in the States and all sorts of medical care. But it has been a hardship with Medicaid. I've always been told with every foster child I've received, if there is a problem, go to the ER. When you have so many foster children in your home and they need special care, plus you have your own biological children, as you know as a parent how difficult it is to spend hours in the ER with all your children and to get a babysitter and to make life complicated. I just want to go see a doctor. And then the only private doctors, or no private doctors will see them, but any other, maybe a few will take Medicaid now, and it's the first five slots that will take them. So if you don't get first seen, okay, well, we're going to the ER. That's our only choice. And it's expensive. It's not using our money wisely. Plus, we just need the care needed. So the Select Care, I mean, I'm also a Harvest House director of a nonprofit for foster children on this island. And I know all of the foster moms And we have a little group, a little support network, and every one of them has benefited now from the select care. Okay, we have a child. That first day we get a child, we can take them immediately to a private doctor and get them checked out. That was the biggest issue. We can't even get them seen for maybe a week or two when we first receive a child who has been abused, neglected, or abandoned. Can you imagine the trauma on their bodies after 2 weeks? That trauma, some of it has already been erased from their bodies. So we need to have them seen right away to get them evaluated, to know what kind of health problems they even have right away when we have them. So I'm thankful for the ease that it has caused, and not only how easy it is, but how beautiful the private doctor is, how personal it is. They come and they know our foster children. They're special to them. It's not like, oh, okay, just give them this, okay, brush them off. It's just not one more case. It's a child, and they're being loved and cared for, and not just in your family, but now as a doctor cares for them, a family doctor. Unbelievable experience. Now they are cared by the community. They are valued and special, and they're going to get treated with the right respect. And I just think that is a beautiful thing. And I love how everybody's coming together for that. I'm glad our foster children are being seen and valued and cared for how they should. Thank you.
You took my breath away, and I don't even think, I mean, it seems so inadequate, but I can't express how much I appreciate and how much we appreciate the fact that you have been a foster parent for so long, and both of you, and just the work that you do. Just no words adequate to say thank you, but at least that. But thank you very much, and we will make sure that this gets passed next week.
Thank you.
And with the First Lady's help, it'll be signed as soon as it arrives. I hope.
Thank you so much.
So, thank you very much. Anybody else wish to testify? If not, we will consider Bill 246 as having been heard, and this committee will stand adjourned.